Welcome to another scriptural study. In this scriptural study, we will be exploring the question, when is tomorrow? As always, this scriptural study format on this YouTube channel is backed up by what we call the Scriptural Proposed Study Format, in which we share scriptural information, yes, both from the Old Covenant and the Renewed Covenant, and or as some say, the Restored Covenant. We also will be sharing today etymological information from a scriptural word standpoint, as verified and backed up by the historical, archaeological, and astronomical witnesses and or evidence. As always, we are going to approach this study and the question, when is tomorrow, based on not a pride approach. Again, pride is concerned with who is right. It's always in the first person, or with the mindset that the individual is first and everybody else is second. We are going to approach this study on the question, when is tomorrow, with a humility approach. Again, humility is concerned with what is right. It reasons with the Father of lights, Yahuwah himself. It doesn't rely on human reasoning alone. It reasons with Yahuwah and the gifts that he provides. As well, the other reason that we are no longer concerned with pride, or pride is concerned with who is right, is because on this YouTube channel, from its very inception, we were focused on learning the celestial clock and calendar of Yahuwah for one main reason. And if it was, indeed, an event where the power does go off, we could actually tell time, yes, the appointed times of Yahuwah, if we were stranded on a desert island without any computers, without any aids of man, so to speak, such as obelisks, sundials, and so forth. So that was one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, and it's all about preparation. And finally, on today's study, this study will expose who truly is a restored full moon believer and who is not. Because if you're a full moon restored, a fully restored moon believer as your new moon day, then your new moon day will commence at the dawn, yes, the first day of the 10th month, which is soon upon us, on the pagan day of Tuesday, January 18th, 2022. And we'll go through this in the scriptural study. Allow me to read the prophet Yeshayahu, known today as Isaiah, chapter 26, verse 19, and I quote, "Let your dead live, together with my dead body. Let them arise, awake and sing, you who dwell in dust, for your dew is dew of light, and let the earth give birth to the departed spirits." Think about the dew and when the dew comes, and when we actually see it. More importantly, when we are to retrieve the manna. As well, many had asked, where did I get this picture from the last study? And this picture is from my hometown. That is an actual mining shaft, a gold mine, where my grandfather used to work way back when in northern Ontario. And this is a shot of the dawn. And it's a beautiful time period, the dawn. And it is where the Father of Lights dew is dew of light. Yes, all three witnesses of light with the sun, moon, and stars. Again, we read the prophet Micah, chapter 5, verse 7, and I quote, "And the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many peoples, as dew from Yahuwah, as showers on the grass." Yes, that morning time period when the dew is as showers on the grass. Again, the dew on the grass, that light, does not wait for any man, nor delay for the sons of men. And we're going to get into this on why. If you have not already seen this scriptural study video that we just released, entitled, "Are There Not 12 Hours in the Day?" basically is the study why the Messiah, Yahushua, gave us this teaching. And this particular study video is the second installment in that light, so to speak. So again, As always, stop the video at any time to ensure that you can focus on the scriptural, word, historical, archaeological, and astronomical information being shared. Yes, focus on this information by stopping the video at any time to read and view the witnesses of light. And the best way to do that is to ensure that your computer screen, mobile phone, or iPad is configured to full view or full screen mode. So again, we approach the celestial clock and calendar of Yahuwah with all of the witnesses in the daylight period, and when the day ends at sunset, going into the twilight, into the first watch to see if the moon is greeting the sun at sunset. Yes, that happens right here. And then when the stars peek out, which stars is the moon ruling with, all the way through the second and third watch, where we see on a new moon day the night before and new moon day itself, that moon will be the highest in the Shamayim between the second and third watch, approximately the midnight time period. And by the end of the third watch is the end of a scriptural day, because we believe the fourth watch is the scriptural start of a day. Yes, dawn or first light, which announces the entire morning time period. And then by sunrise, when the dew starts to leave, is sunrise. We start counting hours at that time. So again, we do not exclude the morning time period from Scripture. Why? Because no one in their right mind would exclude anything from a human wristwatch or human wall clock. No one removes or takes away from the second hand, from the hour hand and or the minute hand. And no one shares with their children to only look at a certain portion of the wall clock. They are taught to look at the whole wall clock and how it operates with its three witnesses. We do the same. We look at the entire clock with all of the witnesses, and why we believe firmly that Matthew chapter 28 verse 1, the start of a day commenced after the Sabbath. In this case, the first fruit Sabbath, which was on the 16th day, and the end of that 16th day was finishing at the end of the third watch, going into the 17th day, in which now after the Sabbath, toward dawn on the first day of the week, right here, which is the 17th day, that second day starts when that first day ends. So we believe this firmly because we can actually test and prove it out in creation, just like Lucas could in chapter 24, verse 1, and as well in YAHsome chapter 20, or John, verse 1. And they came to the tomb early while it was still dark. And again, it's mixed light, so to speak. All of the sun, moon, and stars are in full operation, so you know what day you're at, and you know what season you're in, because again, just like Job or Eob, chapter 38, verses 31 and 32 state, the stars are for seasons. So again, if you wait till sunrise, or if you just wait till sunset, you miss that piece of information, so to speak. Again, the etymology states the same thing once you get into it. So again, and I quote, "The heavens are proclaiming the esteem of all, the Almighty Father of lights, and the expanse is declaring the work of his hand. Day to day pours forth speech, and night to night reveals knowledge." And we don't exclude any of it, including the morning time period. We look at all of the face of the witnesses of light from the clock. In this scriptural study video, we will be using a computer program app called Bible Hub that will review the etymology of the words such as Bokar and Shukar, which are the morning or first light or the dawn. We're going to get into that with many scriptural witnesses. So again, let's go over that first to get that out of the way. Bokar is morning, and as we can see, it's dawn. Dawn is part of the day. Day doesn't start at sunrise. Day is part of the dawn, daybreak, every morning. Tomorrow morning, if someone told you when is tomorrow, it starts at the end of the third watch, commencing with the fourth watch. Tomorrow morning, dawn, daybreak. Shakar is the same thing, dawn. and its etymology, and remember, shakar is the root or parent word for bokar. It's the dawn, dawning of the day, right there. It looks like that. It's daybreak, it's morning, it's part of the day. As we get into this, why do we know this and why are we so confident on this over and above the pure etymology, the undeniable fact that the language Hebraically, both today, let alone in the picto-paleographic, states that? We don't ignore that evidence, but there is more scriptural evidence why we firmly believe Bokar and Shakar are of the dawn and the first light. And why? Well, it's simple, because the scripture tells us what sunrise is. And sunrise is not part of the dawn. It's sunrise. And we are going to use these 8 witnesses of light, which we call the 8-witness protection program, in working out our own deliverance. So let's get into these 8 witnesses from Scripture. So the first one comes to us from the book of Bemidbar, or Numbers known as today, in chapter 2, verse 3, and I quote, "And on the east side towards sunrise." Well, the word sunrise is Mitzrak, or Mitzrak, or Mizrach, place of sunrise, the east. Its parent or root word is Zarak, meaning to rise, come forth. To rise, come forth. That's what sunrise does. And the translations and etymology from the NSAB from Bible Hub gives us that same information. It's not part of the dawn. It rises. It's after the fourth watch, the end of the fourth watch, when sunrise commences. So that's the etymology of what sunrise is. And it shows the difference between Bokar, Shakar, which is all about dawn, which is part of the day, and first light. Let's get into Bemidbar, Numbers chapter 21, verse 11. Towards sunrise. Again, it uses the word shemesh. The sun, it's a noun. Sun, a noun. It's a thing. It's daylight, east side. And it can actually represent sunrise, let alone sunset. And we'll get into that a little later, and we'll explain the challenges with that. In the book of Bemidbar again, or Numbers chapter 34, verse 15, towards sunrise, it uses Mizrach again. Again, the parent or root word is Zarak, which is to rise, come forth. So as you know, the dawn, first light, it's a different event. So there is a difference. You can tell the differences with simple etymological research. Again, if you get into the book of Yahushua, known today as Joshua, chapter 13, verse 5, towards sunrise, it uses the word shemesh, sun, sunrise. So again, it's all about the sun at that point. And remember the word shemesh. If you go to the book of Joshua, or Yahushua, again, chapter 19, verse 12, it uses Mizrach in that verse, place of sunrise, the east. And again, the parent root is a verb. It's an action. It rises, comes forth, just like the etymology from the concordance state as well. It shines, it shone, it rises, it rose. So at the end of the day, pretty basic. The next witness, again from the same book, chapter 19, verse 27, Yahushua, toward the sunrise. It's a noun, shemesh. Now think about that word, shemesh. We're going to come to that from an archaeological and historical standpoint in a little bit. Please remember that. So again, it's referencing here sunrise. If we continue further, same book, 1934, shemesh. I'm going to drive that point home, if you will, a couple of times. And then we get to what we call the coup d'etat from the prophet Zechariah, chapter 8, verse 7. Thus said Yahuwah of hosts. See, I'm saving. The word saving is to deliver somebody from something. Well, what is the Father of lights delivering us from? I'll read this again. Thus said Yahuwah of hosts. Now we're reasoning with Yahuwah, not human reasoning, not what I think. So Yahuwah is quoted as saying, see, I am delivering my people. I'm saving my people from the land of the sunrise. What's so bad about the land of the sunrise? And who is from the land of the sunrise? Again, the place of sunrise, the east. Think about the prophet Ezekiel and the problems with those folks bowing down to the east at sunrise and the problems they had. Again, it goes on further to say, And I'm delivering my people from the land of the sunset. Shemesh. Well, who is Shemesh from a Babylonian standpoint? And why does Yahuwah have to deliver us from the land of the sunrise and from the land of the sunset? Again, the historical and archaeological record calls the people that are living and have to be delivered from the land of the sunrise and from the land of the sunset are from Babel, the land of confusion. And we're going to get into this in a minute. Take a look at this slide. And have you ever noticed that even with sun, moon, and star believers, their day start is either a Babylonian sunrise start, and even what the Greeks knew as a sunset start. So again, this land of confusion will become much more apparent throughout the rest of the study. Furthermore, with this upcoming first day of the 10th month, notice once again that the moon greeting the sun at sunset does not do it everywhere. 9 out of 11 locations all over Earth will greet the sun at sunset, but 2 won't. One in Hawaii and the other one in Cape Town, South Africa. As great as this witness is, it doesn't work everywhere for everyone on New Moon Day. Look at the sunrise, the moon greeting the sun at sunrise, for those folks that say a sunrise is a start. Notice the problems. In my hometown, it'll greet the sun the day before on the 17th. That doesn't make it New Moon Day. In Perth, Australia, problematic. Anaheim, California, Hawaii, Dallas, Texas, Rio de Janeiro, Berlin, Germany. We'll get into that right now on the Excel spreadsheet, because if you don't, and you don't understand the land of confusion, yes, why Yahuwah has to deliver those people from the land of the sunrise and the sunset, then you're going to fail to make the connection on who Shemesh was in Babylonian belief systems. Yes, non-scriptural belief systems. Shemesh was the son of Sin. Shemesh, known in Sumerian as Utu in Mesopotamian religions, was the god of the sun. So let's take a look at this empirically quickly, why some people will err and believe New Moon Day will be on the Monday, pagan day of Monday, January 17th, when that indeed is not the case. So again, if you in error state and say that the New Moon Day will be on the pagan day of Monday, January 17th, then you are not a fully restored New Moon believer. Because look at my area. The moon does not go fully restored until 12:59 p.m. on the pagan day of Monday, January 17th. It cannot be New Moon Day, just for that witness. So again, it does greet the sun at sunrise at 1.18. Again, the sunrise witness, as good as it is, sometimes, 2 to 3 times a year, sometimes more, it errs. It's not the main witness. Now, if you look at the dawn, it nails it. If you look at the height, it nails it. If you look at moonrise and moonset, it nails it. Again, there are more witnesses. Don't have a one-witness approach, so to speak. Take a look at Jerusalem. Again, it's going to greet the sun at the dawn and sunrise, fully illuminated, on the pagan day of Tuesday, January 18th. Tuesday, January 18th is New Moon Day, because why? The moon has become fully restored. You've got some people out there that don't understand phases or illumination, and they cause chaos. And as such, they remain in the land of confusion. And Yahuwah, hallelujah, can deliver them from the land of the sunrise and the land of the sunset. Take a look again at a couple others here really quick. Take a look at Rio de Janeiro. It doesn't greet the sun at sunrise, the moon, until Wednesday, January 19th, but it still is New Moon Day on Tuesday, January 18th, yes, that pagan day, because the moon, the day before, becomes full, and it stops being full the following day at 3:02 a.m. So at its highest illumination, it greets the sun at the dawn, the light on a lampstand, and at the dawn, commencing at 4th watch, you still see the stars that it rules with. All 3 witnesses. But again, the witness of the sunrise Doesn't work. Let's do just one more. Let's go to Dallas, Texas. In Dallas, the moon will not become fully restored. So if you have your new moon day on the 17th, then you're not a fully restored new moon believer. What you are is what's called a horizontal believer, or syzygy, or opposition that the Babylonian system created. You're not a fully restored new moon believer. It is what it is. I'm not judging anybody. These are just empirical astronomical facts. What you do with them individually is the same as it is for me and everyone else on earth. Are you going to use all the witnesses of light? Or are you going to be from the land of the sunrise and the land of the sunset? So take a look at Dallas. It will greet the sun from a moon calc standpoint at 0.11. It's very close. On stellarium, it shows 0.0, I think 1. And at the end of the day, very tight. But take a look at California. It's almost 1 degree above the horizon on the pagan day of Monday, January 17th. But it's not a fully restored new moon. And on the 17th, well after the dawn and well after sunrise, then and only then after that time period does the moon become fully restored, telling us the following day will be new moon day on the pagan day of Tuesday, January 18th, even in this location. But you'd come to the same conclusion if you used the rest of the witnesses, height, direction, and so forth. But for whatever the reason, the people are so stubborn to stay in the land of confusion and just look at the land of the sunrise or the land of the sunset. It's a shame. There's one other element that Babylon has introduced, and we'll get into that now. So again, new moon day will definitely be on the pagan day of Tuesday, January 18th, 2022, commencing at the dawn, if you are truly a fully restored new moon believer, and do indeed use the sun, moon, and stars, and know that the commencement of a scriptural day from a YAHsome standpoint is at the dawn. Use all the witnesses, please. It's very easy to do. Again, understand who Shemesh, and understand the etymology of the land of the sunrise and the land of sunset. The land of confusion is very easy to recognize. It's embedded in all world religions. So, the land of confusion introduced a sunrise day start and a sunset day start, let alone a midnight day start. And we're going to get into this because human reasoning causes a lot of challenges for people to come out of the land of sunrise and the land of sunset, known as the land of confusion. Yes, the beast, the second Babylon, as 1 Kepha or Peter chapter 5, verse 13, fully were well aware that Rome is the second Babylon or the beast, just as the prophet Ezekiel knew in chapter 29, verse 19, that the land of confusion, just as it's quoted here, and I quote, "Therefore, thus said the Master Yahuwah, the Father of lights, see, I'm giving the land of Mitzrayim, Egypt, to Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, the land of confusion." So again, the Babylonian system divides the day into 24 equally long hours, which is not even empirically or astronomically correct, as anyone can test and prove, beginning at sunrise and ending with the following sunrise. That's the Babylonian system. As time went on, this system introduced a midnight start, which the mother of all movements has influenced all of these calendar clubs. It is what it is. And again, we don't have to be ruled over presumptuous ones. In fact, we do not want to follow a Nimrod. We do not want to act like a Nimrod. And the good news is, as per the book of Ephesians chapter 6, verses through 11 through 12, there is no reason to struggle with this with anybody that is flesh and blood. We don't argue. I'm not going to argue with any human being on this anymore. But I'm going to continue to do presentations along with other Bereans who are striving to become noble. And we're going to take the good fight to the beast, to all of these world religions, whether they're Muslim, Christian, Judaic. This is where the battle is. And we share this evidence. And there's no reason to fight or wrestle against flesh and blood. Take the information to the assemblies that are locked, regrettably, in the land of the sunrise and the land of the sunset. Which brings me to this rabbinical assembly. People always ask me, Michael, where did you learn this? Where did you and your Better Three Quarters Palu learn this? Well before the YouTube channel started in 2013, we were studying with many other Bereans who were studying this out. And they shared with us an article that was written in 1981, and it was shared with us in the early 90s. And there were two people that went to this rabbinical assembly, which is almost 100 years old now. And it's a Judaic assembly. And these guys, who were from a Judaic background, wrote an article called The Counting of Day and Night by Meir M. Yedit and Professor M.D. Kasuto. Again, the article was in 1991, and it was entitled, Teach Us to Count Our Days That We May Get a Wise Heart, from the book of Psalms, or Tehillim, chapter 90, verse 12. So let me read the first paragraph of the article, because they bring out the land of confusion very well. They were very well aware of it. The day as a unit of the calendar was calculated differently in various ancient cultures, throughout time, those ancient cultures. They start off with the Babylonians counted as one day the time from sunrise to sunrise. And in the article, they have the etymological, historical, and archaeological record, just as we have shared in our videos. They go on to say the Greeks employed the opposite method. They counted as one day the time from sunset to sunset. In the article, they have all of the witnesses, archaeologically, historically. Then they go on to say, in a third element of time, the Romans then established the modern calendar with the famous reform by Julius Caesar in the year 46 BCE, known anciently as the Republican calendar, which still had New Moon Day as day one of every month. And then that progressed to what was called the Julian calendar, and one day consisted of 24 equal hours. There's no such thing as an equinox or equilux. Equa means equal, nox means night. As we all know, depending on what season you're in, or even on the equinox, you don't get equal day and equal night. It just doesn't work astronomically or empirically, whether in the winter or summer. So these authors knew that. This was later modified by the universal adoption of the Meridian Standard Time, or MST, divided into 24 time zones with Greenwich, England, the meridian, as point zero. Again, a man-made thought process or man-made human reasoning. Accordingly, each day starts at midnight and lasts exactly 24 hours. So they knew all of this was, pardon the pun, or unprofessional, or description called bogus. They knew this was not true or bogus. They knew that this was very easy to prove scripturally, astronomically, etymologically. And they did a great job at explaining it to these Pharisees, this rabbinical assembly. And as we know in the book of Matityahu, none of us are to be called teachers. And that's what rabbis are. So these guys went to this assembly of people, Judaic people, and they shared what we are sharing with you in this video now. So they knew a day started at the end of the third watch and commenced at the fourth watch at the dawn. That's what they were sharing in the article. And as such, they started to understand what Bokar and Shakar actually meant, as we've already reviewed with the etymology. And being Judaic people, you come to the conclusion really quick that the restored covenant, the New Testament, regrettably known today, that's a wrong terminology for the renewed covenant. They started to figure out why they came to the tomb at the end of the third watch, at the commencement of a day, at dawn, at first light, because the law stated that. They started doing research on the Old Covenant. So the writings of Lucas became more clear, the writing of John, why they came to the tomb, to see the bread or the manna. We're going to get into this. And even the etymology of Bokar, why it is what it is at the dawn. So they knew Shakar was also dawn, first light, had nothing to do with sunrise. They knew this. So again, Shakar is the dawn. It's dawn, dawning of the day. That Morning time period is part of the day. Sunrise does not start the day. The etymology does not state that. And people will ignore this. Other Pharisees today that are self-proclaimed authorities, principalities, will argue this when the facts etymologically place that as an incorrect interpretation. Bokar is morning, which is part of the day. Tomorrow morning. So when does this day start? When is tomorrow? Right there, start of the fourth watch. So again, I'm going to go back to the Old Covenant because in the article, these two individuals that went to that assembly that's almost 100 years old, they use YAHsome or Leviticus chapter 7 verse 15. And I quote, "As for the flesh of the slaughter of his peace offering for thanksgiving, it is eaten or consumed the same day it is offered." So it's offered during the daytime. They do not leave any of it until the morning. The morning is the start of the fourth watch. Bokar or Shakar, not sunrise. So they knew this. They also used Shemoth or Exodus chapter 23 verse 18, and I quote, "Do not offer the blood of my slaughtering with leavened bread and the fat of my offering," that's Yahuwah's offering, "it shall not remain until morning." Again, morning, what is morning? It's not Shemesh. It's not Mizrach. It's Bokar. It's Shakar. Again, the etymology is clear, let alone the empirical witnesses of astronomy when looking at the sun, moon, and stars to tell time. So they use this, and this is why the renewed covenant started to make much more sense to them. So when you read Yahukanan, "Therefore, since it was the preparation day, that the body should not remain on the stake on the Sabbath, for that Sabbath was a high one. The Yahudim asked Pilate to have their legs broken, and that they may be taken away." So again, preparation day on the 14th was right here. And as you know, on the 14th, the Messiah was murdered on the stake. The offering of flesh was murdered on the stake. And they took it down from the stake because they knew on the 15th day, the day of unleavened bread, the commencement of that day was first light. Now, yes, some people will argue, well, didn't the Jews at that time have a sunset day start? Weren't they still part of the land of confusion? Well, again, it still works if that was the case. But we believe it was the Republican calendar, which still had first day as new moon day. Please research this. You'll be glad that you did. If it wasn't, they still took the body down in the land of confusion at sunset, which we know a day doesn't start at sunset. And we know a day doesn't start at midnight. So at the end of the day, they came to the tomb before sunrise. So a sunrise day start doesn't work now, does it? So this is common sense. This is so basic that it's simplistic. But again, because of the land of confusion, the land of sunrise and the land of sunset, people still will make error and make comments on it. Or you get that pharisaical, rabbinical approach of pride, and it reviews this and ignores it, better yet, usurps it at their own demise. It is a shame. It is sad. So they knew when the manna, the bread, was killed, in the Old Covenant, and they knew what happened to the Messiah, and it all started to come together for them. And the taught ones, as such, did not come to the tomb at sunrise. Now, if you're going to come to the tomb, yeah, this is the Messiah. Are you going to actually wait? Are you going to delay like the scriptures state? Again, the dew of the morning does not wait for any man. It doesn't wait for a sunrise. The day starts at the fourth watch. And that's why they came toward dawn on the first day of the week. Well, it was still the 16th day of the first month. The 16th day ends, that first day ends, and they're at the tomb at the dawn at fourth watch. Again, very basic. And this is what these guys regrettably shared with the assembly, those self-proclaimed teachers or rabbis. You're not supposed to call yourself that. And these rabbis aren't aware of the story of the manna. When was the manna collected? It wasn't collected at sunrise. It was collected during the morning time period, during the dawn. The manna was collected. If you know your Old Covenant, you'll know when the manna is collected. So are you going to wait for sunrise? The book of Lucas didn't say that. They didn't wait for sunrise. The book of John doesn't say that. They didn't wait for sunrise. They went to the manna, the true bread of life, the Messiah, Yahushua, again at the dawn, just like the etymology states. So, there are many articles like this, but regrettably, these two poor souls went through the same stresses. And it reminds me that even if you go to a principality or the authorities, like Ephesians states, you still can get frustrated. So let me read 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 6 through 8. For the Almighty Father of lights, who said, "Let light shine, come out of darkness." And that's what these guys were doing. Hallelujah. So it goes on to say, "is the one who has shone in our hearts for the enlightening of the knowledge of the esteem of the Almighty Father in the face of Yahushua Messiah." The Messiah Yahushua and all his activities verify what the Old Covenant was saying, and he did it in real time while he was in the flesh. He was the offering. He was the manna. And we know in the Old Covenant when the manna was collected and when they were to collect it. They weren't to wait till sunrise. And verse 7 goes on to say, "We have this treasure in earthen vessels." This knowledge in earthen vessels are temples now, so that the excellence of the power might be of the Almighty Father of lights, not for our self-esteem, but to esteem Almighty Father of lights. We are not interested in the esteem of human beings. We are only interested in receiving the esteem of the Almighty Father of lights, and not of us. Verse 8, "being hard-pressed on every side." These guys were hard-pressed when they shared this article with this principality, these authorities. They were being hard-pressed on every side, just like we are today, but not crushed. Hallelujah. Yes, we're perplexed when we share the land of sunrise and the land of confusion. We're perplexed when people don't want to give it up. Of course we're perplexed. We scripturally love others. So we get perplexed when people don't understand or don't want to accept simple etymology, simple astronomical empirical evidence, let alone what the Messiah did. But we're not in despair. We're going to get perplexed moving forward even further, but we're not going to be in despair. We're not going to wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the principalities and the authorities. So this YouTube channel is working on authorities in world religions. Not people on of a couple Skype calls, Zoom calls that have a few folks that want to argue every week. We've given that up. There's no fruit in it. It doesn't produce any profit. No fruit whatsoever. It just goes around in vicious circles and never accomplishes anything, regrettably. So again, if you're into really taking the good fight, you got to do your homework. You got to do your research. And this is why we do presentations in full. So again, the land of confusion, the land of sunrise and sunset, and now midnight, thanks to the beast, is alive and well on the earth today. But again, this will be removed. Human reasoning will be removed. Again, let's reason with Yahuwah, not with each other. Let's reason with the gifts he provides, sun, moon, and stars. Let's reason with the word from the Old Covenant, Moshe's writings, etc., let alone what the Messiah Yahushua did and as such taught us. He's our only teacher. Let's give up these world religions. Let's take the fight to those organizations while we still have time. Let's come out of this world. So again, there's no such thing as a 24-hour day. Syzygy, horizontal belief systems of opposition created by the Babylonians have evolved now into a midnight system. Again, this principality we no longer listen to. We're coming out of the world. But they're going to press on, and they're going to cause confusion. That's what they are designed to do. We no longer want to follow Nimrod. We don't want to act like a Nimrod, and we don't want to follow one. So, keep yourselves away from presumptuous ones. Do not let them rule over you, and I'm certainly not going to do it anymore. And it causes so much peace and joy. The exhilaration of being set free from basic arguments. There are some people still arguing that Shakar is sunrise, and they don't have a leg to stand on. So we gave that up. Just do the presentation. Share the evidence. If they want to hang their hat on a lie, they have the right to do that. Galatians chapter 5, verse 13, about free will. People do what they're going to do. I have no authority or abilities to change people. That's not what we're doing. We're doing these presentations. We present them to the world religions. What they do with them is no different than an individual. Again, if you're coming out of the world, Yahuwah will know if you're looking to follow the gifts that he provides. So again, there's no reason the calendar should not be used as a weapon, and regrettably many will continue to do so. So again, let me put it this way, and here's one great example that came from this article so many years ago, and I'd like to thank Quinny and her husband Bill, known his real name is William, or Bill Huggy Bear, or Bill the Bulldog. Again, you don't have to defend any of my scriptural study videos on Facebook, guys. Don't worry about it. In fact, I'd rather not have my scriptural study videos placed on the metaverse. It doesn't produce a lot of fruit there. It has had some success, but it produces people that just want to wrestle against flesh and blood. Again, we want to remove ourselves from that. We're looking at the bigger game, the principalities, the authorities, the world rulers of darkness of this age, against the spiritual matters of wickedness in the heavenlies. So again, the best example from Quinny and her husband, Bill, that we got from so many years from articles like this, back in the early 90s, is, think of it this way. A metric system. Here in Canada, if I invited you to help me build a shed in my backyard, and you are an American, so to speak, you're on the imperial system right now. I'm on the metric system. So if you brought your tools up, your rulers, your tape measures, it would be an imperial. But I'm on meters. So it would be very hard to speak together to where to cut a board or gyprock or whatever, a 2x4, so to speak. So at the end of the day, when you're looking at the celestial clock and calendar of Yahuwah, you have to speak Enoch, known anciently as Hanok. There's no such thing as a 24-hour day. In the Hanok world, just like it was for Job, a day that measures seasons, let alone the true hours, is actually 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4.09 seconds. So again, it's a seasonal clock. In the spring, Ursa Major is upside down between the second and third watch. In the summer, it's on its side in the west. In the fall, it's here. And all of you, I'm asking you now, get your cameras out for the first day of the 10th month. Take photographs of the full moon, the fully restored moon, and Ursa Major. It will be in this position, just like Job knew. Find out verse 31, where not only Ursa Major, find out Pleiades and Orion. Find out the position where Arcturus and Abib is going to be for the first day of the 10th month. It's always in the same position. And as we know, Abib is always opposite to the star known as Hamal. So, take a look at those witnesses. They are there for us, and no one can argue them. They are in the scriptures. You can't argue them. But that's the proper measurement system. You can't use imperial or meters or metric, so to speak. You got to speak in a day of what Hanok said. Hanok stated that there were 18 parts to a day and night. A full day period or yom includes day and night. So at the end of the day, it was 18 parts. One part equals 1.33 hours in our world, or 79.8 minutes, or 1 hour plus 19.8 minutes. So again, don't get confused over this. Don't get frustrated. It's no different than if you live in the United States and I visit you to build something. I have to adopt the imperial system. I can't use my metric system anymore. Again, when you approach the celestial clock and calendar of Yahuwah, which works counterclockwise, it's different. That's all. It's different. It's not hard. It's not complicated. You have to understand the measurement systems of the sun, moon, and stars scripturally. And this is what these two souls attempted to share with the rabbinical assembly. And regrettably, many people turn into Pharisees right away when you share all of the witnesses of light and how it was measured. It is what it is. There's no reason to struggle against flesh and blood. No reason to mock flesh and blood. Don't make fun of anybody. The point is, share the evidence. What they do with it is between them and the Father of Lights. They have to work out their own deliverance like each and every one of us do as individuals. That's Scripture. So again, when someone says, I'm coming out of Babylon, well, there's a lot more to it than just coming off the Gregorian calendar now, is there? You still have these views with a 12-hour daylight. There's no such thing if you go from sunrise. These types of visuals, again, are still Babylonian-based. Get rid of them. And if you know your history, just go to this website. There are still people using a sundial. It's shocking. It's shocking that people still want to go to a sundial. Someone said to us the other day, oh, just look at a sundial. Think about this. Did the Messiah YAHsome state, hey, look at the sundial when he said that in the winter, that there are 12 hours? No, he didn't, did he? Would the Messiah YAHsome point someone to a Babylonian sundial to tell time? But people are proposing that. Take a look at this site, Babylonian seasonal hours. It's still taking place. Take a look at the Athenians measured the day by sundials and unit fractions. And again, they went from sunset to sunset. See, their Greek day began after sunset. It's still alive and well and still shows up in visuals. And usually shows up in visuals that people that request money from others, which is a total non-scriptural element. You do these studies for free. You've received freely, give back accordingly. We're not judging anybody. We just shared what the scriptural evidence stated. Whether or not the individuals will continue to collect money for scriptural studies, that's between them and the Father of Lights. We're not judging anybody. We love them so much that we don't want them to be in trouble during the day of judgment. We don't want to be in trouble ourselves during the day of judgment. We love each other. We don't struggle against or wrestle against flesh and blood. So again, YAHsome said, are there not 12 hours in the day? And he made that comment in the 9th month. We know that because in Yehochanan, or John chapter 10, verse 22, at that time the Hanukkah came to be in Jerusalem and it was winter. And again, he made that comment. And everyone knows in Jerusalem during the 9th month, which is December usually, let alone now into the 10th month, January for us in the world Gregorian system, you don't get 12 hours of sunlight starting from sunrise. You don't get it. And that's easily proven. So here, let's go to December 22nd. Again, Hanukkah is sometime always, again, that's not a non-scriptural feast day. It's a man-made festival of light celebration. But take a look. Here we are, December 22nd, that passed us. Sunrise was at 6:35. Sunset was at 4:39 for a total of 10 hours and 4 minutes. Messiah YAHsome wasn't a liar. He knew that if your day started like a scriptural day at the dawn, 5:08 a.m., here is the dawn, astronomical dawn, 5:08, and at the end of civil twilight, 5:07 p.m., that's 12 hours. He knew what he was talking about. People are still calling the Messiah YAHsome a liar. We're doing our best to love people, not to wrestle or struggle with them and say, hey, you may not want to tell a lie about the Messiah. The Messiah YAHsome wasn't a liar. He was empirically and astronomically sound. He knew his Father of Lights and what they created with the sun, moon, and stars. So again, if you don't understand all this, that's why some people will err and say, oh no, it's not the first day of the 10th month and the pagan day of Tuesday, January 18th. It is New Moon Day on the first day of the 10th month on the pagan day of Tuesday, January 18th, hallelujah, if you use all the witnesses of light and listen to our teacher. He knew a true day start. Again, we're all guilty of this at some time in our lives. I'm 61 years of age, still going strong, and regrettably, when I was growing up, I didn't believe the scriptures. I had more of a jest and disprove approach. I would say, really? Is that true? Today, I have an approach of, no. The Messiah is not a liar. I'm going to prove what he said. I'm going to make the effort. I'm not going to have a Laodicean mindset. I'm not going to sit on the fence. And as such, I'm not going to listen to the traditions of men. Yes, that land of confusion, the land of sunrise and the land of sunset, which is very traditional based, if you will. So let's finish this study off with a few more scriptural passages that the dawn is indeed a true day start, and that we can trust the answer to the question of when is tomorrow, because the scriptures state when tomorrow is, the etymology backs it up, the historical and archaeological record, let alone the sun, moon, and stars. So take a look at Shemoth Exodus chapter 16, verse 13. And I quote, "And it came to be that quails came up at evening." Well, the word evening is areb from the Strong's entry 6153. It's evening, twilight. So if you go to timeanddate.com and other websites, they define right after sunset as twilight, civil twilight. And the end of civil twilight is what I showed you on that last slide. That's the end. And now sunset starts first watch. Why is it sunset first watch? Because you're looking to see if the moon's going to greet the sun. That's when that happens. That's the evening. That's the twilight. You're still in the first watch, but that's that portion of the first watch. And then the stars start to peek out. And then you start to see which stars the moon is ruling with. Psalms chapter 136, verse 9. And take a look. So in the morning dew. And it came to be the quails came up in the evening, the meat, and covered the camp. And in the morning, the dew, right here. You know when dew shows up, folks. And you know when they collected the manna, in the morning dew, which lay all around the camp. First light. And in Shemoth Exodus 23, and he said to them, this is what Yahuwah said, tomorrow is a rest. So it's not really complicated. Again, Bokar and Shakar. Bokar is morning. It's part of the dawn, which is part of the day, daybreak, every morning, tomorrow morning. So it's pretty basic, right? Shakar, dawn, dawning of the day. Morning is part of the day. Day doesn't start at sunrise based on the etymology. Now you can do a Johnny Carson two-step, which is, you try to dance your way around this because you have a traditional mindset. You're still caught up in the land of the sunrise, the land of the sunset. We all were caught up in that system. We're supposed to come out of it. And we trust Yahuwah will take care of that. Let's go to the book of Numbers, chapter 16, verses 4 through 7. And I quote, "And when Moshe heard, he fell on his face and spoke to Korah and all his company, saying, tomorrow morning Yahuwah shall make known who is his and who is set apart." Again, the morning, not at sunrise. He's going to determine who is his and who is set apart. Think about this. The world has a sunset start, a midnight start, and a sunrise start. The set apart ones start in the morning, at dawn, just like the etymology states, where the manna is. The bread of life, Messiah Yahushua. That's tomorrow. The Messiah Yahushua did what? Yes, that bread of life, the manna of life. In Matthew chapter 14, verse 25 stated, and I quote, "And in the fourth watch of the night, Yahushua went to his taught ones, walking on the sea." He didn't go at sunrise, he didn't go at sunset, and he didn't go at midnight. He chose to go walk on the sea in the fourth watch, the morning time period. And as such, the taught ones went to the manna or bread of life when? Not at sunrise, not at sunset, and not at midnight. They went when? Yes, at the end of the third watch, at the commencement of the fourth watch, at dawn, at first light, the start of a scriptural day. The taught ones went there. His chosen ones went there, just like the book of Numbers, or Bemidbar, chapter 16, verse 4. Yahuwah shall make known who is his and who is set apart, and bring him near to him, and let him bring near to him the one whom he chooses. Do this. Take fire holders, Korah and all your company, and put fire in them, and put incense in them before Yahuwah tomorrow. And it shall be that the one whom Yahuwah chooses is the set apart one. The taught ones went at the fourth watch. Yahuwah met his taught ones at the fourth watch. And as such, the taught ones meet the manna or the bread of life in the fourth watch. And in the future, we firmly believe, as Tukef or Peter, chapter 1, verse 19 states, and I quote, "And we have the prophetic word made more certain." This is why we are more confident about the fourth watch in the future, which we do well to heed. We are heeding this. As a light that shines in a dark place until the day dawns, right there, and the morning star rises in your hearts. Yes, we know where to look for the signs, don't we? When all three witnesses of light are in play. We know the season, we know the hour, we know the time. And more importantly, we know the appointed time if we were caught on a desert island without any apps or computer or devices like sundials, obelisks, etc. We are free and clear of all of man's traditions as taught in world religions to this day. Again, Numbers chapter 16, verse 4 through 7. Tomorrow morning Yahuwah shall make known who is his and who is set apart. Again, the world does not follow this. The world follows either a sunrise, a sunset, or a midnight, and they ignore the obvious, which the etymology verifies. Let's go to Shofetim, or Judges chapter 19, verse 9. And I quote, "And the man arose to go, he and his concubine and his servant. But his father-in-law, the young woman's father, said to him, See, the day is now drawing toward evening, Areb. Please spend the night, see the day is coming to an end." So sunset was coming, and such evening. After sunset is evening. So we know Bakar is not evening. Areb has nothing to do with Bakar or Shakar. It's morning. It's part of the day. So this is the end of the day, sunset, and you're now getting into evening, Areb. So there's another word. Again, Shemesh is sunrise. It's not part of Bakar or Shakar, and it's not part of Areb or Arab, the root word. So again, when Zechariah stated, what is Yahuwah delivering us from? The land of the sunrise and the land of the sunset and the land of the midnight. All of Babel's confusion. Again, let's be set apart. No one else is doing it. The world's on sunrise and sunset and midnight. This is the only thing left. Just do through the process of elimination, you can get this. It's very basic. So again, let's continue on. We do not have to follow a Nimrod. We don't have to follow the beast and all of its components of confusion. And we don't have to come in with human reasoning. We can reason with Yahuwah and the gifts that he provides, let alone his writings from Moshe and his prophets. We do not have to be controlled by presumptuous ones. We do not have to allow them to rule over us. And yes, they're going to shout out loud at the top of their lungs, "We disagree." Well, okay, disagree. We are reasoning with Yahuwah. We are not going to wrestle with flesh and blood. We'll continue to show you the evidence. What you do with it is the same as it is for any person, let alone me. I've decided to follow Yahuwah. Trust him with all my heart, all my mind, all my being, and the gifts and writings he provides. So again, think about this. Micah chapter 5, verse 7. When you rise early is another word called shakam from Hebrew entry Strong's 7925, to start or rise early. Please study where that word is. It'll help you understand Bukar and Shakar. And then read Micah again, chapter 5, verse 7. "And the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many peoples as dew from Yahuwah." Yes, that manna. When we're to collect the manna, when we're to go to the Messiah, when the taught ones went to Messiah, when the Messiah went to his taught ones. Yes, that bread of life, that manna. The early bird does indeed get the worm, doesn't it? Thank you, Quinny, for reminding me and Bill that even my grandparents and their parents knew when a day start was from their biblical training way back when. Thank you for continuing to remind me of these examples to share with others. So again, if you're waiting for the sunrise or you're waiting for the sunset or midnight, the dew from Yahuwah as showers on the grass, yes, that beautiful light, does not wait for any man-made system from the land of the sunrise or the land of the sunset. Yahuwah does not delay for the sons of men. So why wrestle or struggle with them? It's a waste of time. So again, rise early, just like the Psalms state that we rise early. at the dawn to study the Word. His witnesses, the Father of lights, witnesses of light, are wonders. So why our being observes them, including the dew and when the dew exists? Because if we read any further from Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27, or Ibram, all of us are destined to die once and then judgment. We all die. There are supposedly, if you understand or believe the numbers on population, 110 billion people have lived and died before us. So when you read that, and you understand that all men die once and then judgment, Yeshayahu, from a restoration standpoint, comes to much more light than the past. So chapter 26, verse 19, and I quote, "Let your dead live, together with my dead body. Let them arise. Awake and sing, you who dwell in the dust. For your dew is a dew of light." Yes, the Father of lights and his witnesses of light are a dew of light. "And let the earth give birth to the departed spirits." We want no one to die. We're not better than anyone else. We don't utilize this calendar as a weapon. We are attempting and striving to become noble. As Bereans, we know we have a long way to go. We know, as the Apostle Shaul stated, we are still wretched and we have work to do, to work out our own deliverance in fear and trembling. So we do prove what the Messiah Yahushua stated. We don't call the Messiah Yahushua a liar, because he knew how much light there was starting from the dawn to the end of civil twilight during a winter month. We take the time out of love for the Messiah Yahushua and the effort that he put in on our well-being to prove what he said, to prove how he lived with the etymology, the archaeology, let alone the historical record. So again, don't give up the dew, folks. Don't give up the manna and when it appears, so to speak. Again, Micah chapter 5, verse 7. When you use the sun, moon, and stars, something becomes very clear. You remove yourself from the land of sunset and the land of sunrise. Yes, the land of Babel, the land of confusion. Because, and I quote, "And the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many peoples, as dew from Yahuwah, as showers on the grass, which do not wait for man nor delay for the sons of men, that start their day at sunrise, sunset, or even midnight." When you use the sun, moon, and stars, and the fully restored new moon, it's impossible to err. And as such, you can be on a desert island when the power does indeed go off, if it does during our lifetimes, and be perfectly fine, understanding when each and every new moon day is, and thus the Sabbaths and feast days. Let me close with this. It is a struggle for all of us to remove ourselves from ego, because pride is concerned with who is right. Humility is concerned with what is right from our Father of lights. Our Father of lights unites. World religion hides, takes away, and divides. Hides and divides. So again, we continue to call upon the name, yes, Yahuwah, our Father of lights, that these scriptural study videos provide value to you and your loved ones as you prepare for the future. You can know when is tomorrow based on the witnesses of light, each and every new moon day into the Sabbaths and the feast days. And again, a final request. Please, if you can, send us your photographs of Ursa Major in its proper position for a winter month for the first day of the 10th month, which is a day of remembrance. And we'll get into that, hopefully, Yahuwah willing, in the next scriptural study video. So until then, may the Messiah Yahushua be in everything we say and do. All the best, everyone. Have a YAHsome day.